Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing good. Continuing with LeetCode top interview question. Today we'll be solving missing number question. So question is you are given an array num which contain n distinct numbers in the range 0 to n, and you have to return the only missing number from this range. So let's take the example here. Array is 301. Okay, so n here is 3. So, as per the condition, as per the question, it can contain a number from 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, it can contain 0 to n. Okay, now we know that n is 3, and if the length of this possible values will be n plus 1. Okay, but n is 3, so it can contain only number n. So there will always be a number missing in this particular array, so we have to identify the number. So basically the possible range or the array which is possible and the actual array that holds the value, we have to find the difference. So if you see here, in this possible range, 1 is present. Okay, in this array 0 is present, 3 is present, but 2 is not present, so 2 is the answer here. Okay, so again, if we see this example here, n is 2 here, so possible values can become 0, 1, 2. Okay, but only 0 and 1 are present, 2 is not present, so 2 is the output here. Again, let's say if we see this example as well, n is 9 here because 9 is the length of array, so possible values will be 0 to 1 till 9 total values. But as we can see from this array, if we compare the uh, arrays of all the values which are, possible values, and the actual array which holds these values, we see the 8 is not present here. Okay, so 8 is the answer here. Similarly, let's say if we take example something like this, not this one, let's say 1 and 2. So n is 2 here, so possible values, possible array will be, but if you see here in this array, 1 is present. Okay, 2 is present, but 0 is not present, so in that case output will be 0. Okay, so let's see the idea behind the solution. So let's say you have this input 4, 5 and something 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so n here is 9. So one of the approaches, what you do is you iterate over the array. Okay, and let's say you create some kind of a bucket. Let's say we talk about some magic bucket which can tell whether the number is present or not. Okay, if the number is not present, we add that number. So let's say we go over here. Let's say we came across 1. We see there is a magic bucket, and we see if the 1 is not there, what we do is we add that. Okay, if 2 is not there, we add that. If 3 is not there, we add that. If 4 is not there, we add that. 5 is not there, then we add 6, then 7, then 8, then 9. So once we are done with the array iteration, we just add them into the magic bucket. Okay, so we have already iterated the array and we stored the data, these numbers into the magic bucket. Now we know that as per the question, the range is given from 0 to n. Okay, so what we do is then we start loop. Okay, and we start from 0 to n. So what we do is we check if the 0 is present in the magic bucket or not. Okay, so if 0 is, let's say in this case 0 is not present, that will be the output, and we just break over there itself. But assume that, let's say 0 is already there. Okay, so 0 is there, we continue, we go with the 1 value here. Okay, we check if 1 is already there, 2 is there. Once we came across this value 8 while iterating, we see that 8 is not present. Okay, 8 is not present in the array. So here let initially 8 from here this will become 0. So when we came across 8, we see okay 8 is not present, so 8 is the output. So that's the one of the approach. So this magic bucket I'm talking about is nothing but a hash set, okay, of integer. So what you do is you iterate over this array. Let's say iterate over array A. This is array A, and you add values into this hash set. Okay. So once you are done with iterating, you will have a set which holds all the values of this array. Okay, from 1 to 9. Now what you have to do is you have to iterate over this imaginary array or the all the possible value array. So here I mean you don't have to iterate, but you know the values. So what you do is you apply for loop where integer I is equal to 0 and I less than equal to n. Okay, and here what you have to do is you have to check if let's say set contains I. Okay, if it contains I, that means there is a value present in the array. But let's say if it not contains, that means that value, this sum of the value, let's say for example 8 is not, let's say it does not contain, that means that is not present in the actual array. So that is the missing value. So what you do is you simply return the I value. Okay, so that's the one of the approach here, where while using hash set you can just get the answer here. Okay, let's talk about another approach here. So if we see here, when we have this value 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, we will be using a mathematical approach here, because we know from our elementary mathematics classes that the sum of the values from 1 to n is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2. Okay, so first we'll calculate the sum. Okay, so it will be contribution of 0 is anyways 0, so we'll calculate the possible sum which should be there. Okay, given we are given that all the possible values will be from 0 to n. So this will be the sum, let's say x1. Okay, and then this is the possible sum that we should get. Okay, and then we iterate over the array, and then we calculate the sum which is the actual sum which is currently in hand, which is present, which we get from this array. Okay, let's say that sum is, let's say we take a of I and then a of I plus 1 till index a of size. Okay, let's say that sum is x2. Now how we'll get the missing element? We'll see missing element will be x1 minus x2. Why? Because we know this is the possible sum of all the values which, as per the condition, from 0 to n, sum should be x1. But this is the actual values which are present in the array. Okay, so there is a some missing element here. Okay, so the actual value will be x2, which we get from the summation of all the element in array. So the difference will be x1 minus x2. Okay, why x1 minus x2? Because x1 will always be greater than x2, always be greater than or equal to x2. Now can there be case where x1 can be equal to x2? Yes, there can be case. How? See, uh, let's say 1 2 3. Okay, so possible so and here is 3, so possible array will be 0 1 2 3, and let's say actual array is 1 2 3. This is the actual array. Okay, and this is the possible value array. So if you see here the sum of n, if you see the sum will be uh, 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, 6, and from here what we'll get, n is 3 here, so 3 into 4 by 2, so that is 6. So if you see here, x1 is 6, so there is a possible sum here as I already told, and next to the actual sum is 6. So the missing value here is x1 minus x2, and what is that? 6 minus 6, which is equal to 0. So as you can see from this actual array or the input array, 0 is the missing. Okay, so that's the another approach with the elementary mathematics. So now let's see the code for this elementary mathematics approach. So here's the code. This is the function. This is the input array given. We calculated the length. Then here we have calculated the possible sum n into n plus 1 by 2 value. So that sum holds this value. Okay. We have initialized the result. So result here we are actually treating all the number array, and we are getting the result. So this sum is here nothing but x1, and this result is nothing but x2. Okay, and here finally we return the x1 minus x2. Okay, so I hope you followed the question as well as the solution. Do let me know if you want me to solve any particular question. Till then, bye bye, take care.